My family wants us to get a dog, but I don't think it's the right thing to do.
I'm Dalistair from Australia. Let's talk about that.
Good mythical morning.
Today's episode is brought to you by Aura Brush. Did you know that 90% of all bad breath comes from a dirty tongue?
You don't want dog breath. You should let your dog have the dog breath, and you have nice breath. And I suppose you could use that on your dog, but
Not recommended for dogs. Recommended for dog breath and people who don't want dog breath. Pick it up at aurabrush.com or CVS or Walmart.
All right. It's a new week. It's fresh once again. Still don't have an air freshener in here, but what can you do? We keep forgetting.
I had a special,
And then we keep smelling.
special little event this weekend. I didn't go anywhere special. I didn't have any sort of special festivities, but my family dog sat.
That sounds violent.
Well, it's not a sport. That's not when you put your children on large dogs and have them joust, which could be a good idea. That is when
I'm going to write that down.
that's when you take care of someone else's dog. Now, I took care of
Babysitting for a dog. You babysat for a dog.
2 dogs. One of them was a Great Dane, and if you do not know anything about Great Danes, they are very large dogs. This dog could have easily eaten both of my children if Great Danes were in that kind of thing.
So if you got down on like your knees and your hands, it'd probably be as big as you.
Well, we've got a picture of my 7-year-old son next to the dog, just to give you an idea of how big this dog was.
And your 7-year-old is 6 feet tall?
He is 7'3". He's very tall for his age. So if you get any idea of how big this dog is, his name is Waldo.
Waldo.
And Gus, his golden retriever
Pal.
brother. Or they're not really brothers, but they live. They're like stepbrothers. They are in the same house, have the same parents.
Brothers from a different mother.
Adopted brother.
Okay.
They're both adopted because humans can't have dogs. It has been tried.
Were these dogs in the house? I hope not.
Yeah, they were. They were in the house.
Really?
They slept in the house. In fact, the Great Dane, Waldo, you have to put a blanket over Waldo when he goes to bed. And he's like so docile.
What?
He's just like, he's so big and he's sitting there with this blanket over him. And then like we put
So
him.
he thinks he's trapped under the blanket?
We put him to bed a little bit early, and then with the kids, when the kids went to bed at like 9, and then he kind of came out. We had guests over, and he kind of comes out into the living room, and he's got the blanket draped on him like a royal coat of some kind. He's like, "Hello,
Oh, he speaks too, huh?
hello, I need to pee. Please take." He actually looks like he talks like this.
Well, his name is Waldo.
Think about it. But anyway,
So how did it go?
It went great.
I see you don't have the dog now. I work in your backyard. This is where our studio is. There's a yard.
We got rid of the dogs.
There are no huge dogs.
We got rid of them, and by that is a sensational way of saying we gave them back to our friends Nick and Allison after they came back from the thing that they were at.
They're rightful owners.
And the dogs were happy to see him. The boys, my 2 boys, were sad to see the dogs go. Now, one of the reasons that we're babysitting the dogs or dog sitting the dogs is because my wife and my 2 kids, Locke and Shepherd, are putting the pressure on Daddy to get a dog. Now that we've moved to California, we have a house with a backyard. We're settled in, the kids are happy to be here, but Jesse's like, we just get him a dog. Let's complete the family. Let's get a dog. So they're like going on these adoptive websites and stuff and showing me pictures of dogs. She's emailing me pictures of dogs, texting me pictures of dogs, trying to pull at the heartstrings so we can get a dog. But let me tell you right now.
And your stance is you don't want a dog.
My stance is I love dogs. I love your shirt because it has a dog on it.
This is as close as I get to owning a dog. A flattened one that is on my shirt. I like dogs too. I especially like them on a t-shirt.
I'm a dog person. Between a dog person and a cat person, I'm a dog person. I like dogs. I've had dogs in the past. The reason I don't want a dog is because I feel that I am cursed. And I'm not speaking in some sort of like voodoo sense. But my track record with dogs in the past lends me to believe that this is just not a good idea. Let me tell you a couple of quick stories. The first dog we ever owned when I was a kid, Sandy. Sandy ran away.
Now, this is in Buies Creek, right?
Buies Creek.
I remember this dog.
Mm-hmm. We had Sandy for maybe a couple months. Sandy runs away. We weren't mistreating Sandy. She's just like, I'm out of here. I gotta go. Gotta figure out where the creek is in Buies Creek. And she ran away. And then the second dog we got, Beauty. The black dog, Black Beauty. You know,
I don't remember Beauty.
Yeah, because she was there for a few weeks and then she checked out too.
She went crazy? She just went nuts.
She ran away. She ran away because we went to pick peaches at a peach orchard, and we were like, let's let Beauty run around. She loves peaches. She loves them so much, she stayed there. She left. We could never find her again. And I was heartbroken both of these times because I was a young kid. We never had a dog again as a family until I got married to my wife, Jessie. And I actually found a dog in the woods while I was working. I used to work in the woods.
And was it a peach orchard woods?
No, and it wasn't the same dog. I
was
much older.
It wasn't Sandy. It wasn't like an old decrepit Sandy.
It wasn't Sandy or Beauty. It was a puppy, a little small puppy. You remember Gypsy. We always end with a Y. You got to end with a Y. And
well, I don't think you do.
We adopted Gypsy, took care of her. She was not a pretty dog, but we loved her. She grew up to be about a year old.
Oh, yeah, I do remember. The ugly dog.
Yeah, we were down at the beach with my wife's parents, and Gypsy jumped the fence, and I heard screech tire, boom, go outside. The dog is dead.
Oh no.
My wife is pregnant with our first child at the time. She's totally emotionally unstable. Then her dog dies.
That's why you named your first child Gypsy.
No, that's not how the story ends. She cried for a week. We buried the dog. It was just a solemn. So I was like, oh, this is horrible. Then couple of years later, we're talking.
Did you bury the dog in a peach orchard?
No, we didn't. This is a couple of years ago, a couple of years later after Gypsy. There's my in-laws' dog has puppies.
I already noticed a trend. I would even call it a track record.
Okay.
With dogs for you.
And I actually witnessed the birth of these puppies. I filmed it on video. I filmed the birth of this dog that we then adopted on video. So I was there at its birth. So I felt like its father in a lot of ways.
But that dog was embarrassed.
And we took the dog.
Nobody wants to be filmed while giving birth, trust me.
At this time, I named the dog Merle. It was a girl, and I named it Merle because I've always wanted to name a dog after my favorite country music singer, favorite singer of all time.
What happened to the Y? What happened to the Y?
Because Merle sounds stupid. So I named it Merle.
Well, it's your rule. You can break it, right?
So we have Merle for a little bit, and we get to know, separately from this, we get to know some friends, Lance and Lacey. They spent some time in Egypt where they adopted 2 dogs of this special Egyptian breed. Their plan was to come back to the States, breed these dogs together, and then sell this special breed of dog in the United States. Okay, one of the dogs tragically died in like a leash choking incident. They didn't kill it, but it was just like, it got caught up in something.
Were you there?
It was not back there. It had nothing to do with this. So they were left with one dog. This is a precious dog, Chantilly. They travel all the time. In fact, he's at Oxford University now. But they were going to Turkey. And Lance and Lacey are like, can you guys keep our dog? We keep the dog in our backyard in Fuquay. We had a nice little backyard. So we had Chantilly and Merle. They get along great. But Chantilly's a little bit of an acrobat. And she can open the gate and get out the gate. So it happened 2 or 3 times, and we would bring him back and we would put him back there.
So let me get this straight. You were keeping Chantilly, and she opened the gate and ran away.
Well,
there's a common denominator here, and it's you.
Well, it gets a lot worse than her running away. One morning,
put the kids to bed.
This is going to get ugly, people. I'm sorry. This is just a fact. This is why I don't want a dog. We had Chantilly for about a week, and about 3 or 4 days into that week, I get up that morning, and Jesse's like, the dogs are gone. We've got to figure out a way to keep them in there. So I start going around the neighborhood looking for them. And I get into I'm going like in between people's backyards and stuff. You know, it's North Carolina. You can just walk through people's yards. There's no fences or anything except in my yard. And I see Chantilly dead. Completely untouched, completely didn't get hit by a car or anything. Just sleep like she had fallen asleep and died right there. And then about 100 feet from her, I find Merle, also dead.
What?
They had both gotten into some kind of...
I don't think they were in a cult,
of poison or something. We think somebody might have poisoned them, honestly. But, okay, so that's not the worst of it. I'm dog sitting for somebody's dog who is in Turkey. Now and
it's very precious.
And they've only been our friends for like 6 months. I have to call them on their Turkey trip to tell them that their dog died under my care. So we call them up.
You should probably email.
I wanted to email him. get them on the phone and we're like, hey, how you guys doing? They're like, oh, good. Glad you called. We're doing great. Turkey's awesome. And
you got to get right to that.
I'm like,
you can't be like, how you doing? Hey, small talk, weather, turkey's awesome.
well, they were doing that.
You got to be like, hey.
I said, listen, I've got something very serious to tell you.
Yeah.
Chantilly and Merle got out of the fence and apparently got into some kind of poison, and they're both dead. Silence. And they took it incredibly well.
You could have added something like, and now they're in the great peach orchard in dog heaven.
I don't think they would have taken it well.
Just picture them eating peaches and frolicking with Sandy and Beauty and just peach marmalade and, bowls full of things that dogs love in dog heaven.
The moral of the story is every dog that I have ever cared for, by no fault of my own, is now dead.
Doesn't matter. You're going to lose. You'll get a dog.
And my wife wants to bring another one into this house.
You've already lost. You've let other people's dogs come in here and they haven't died. You've had a great experience. Oh, we can do that. It's over, man.
You're really making light of this. I mean, 2 dogs lost their lives under my care.
More than that. I count at least 4.
Well, I'm going to blame the other ones on my parents.
Don't do that to another dog, man. Your family needs to...
I don't want to do it to another dog. I don't want a dog. I want to admire dogs from a distance, but I don't want anything to do with taking care of them.
The mythical wheel of... What do we call that? Endings?
Wheel of mythicality.
It tells us how to end. Whatever it says to do, we're going to do.
Shout out to librarians.
Shout out to librarians, okay?
You went to school, you got a degree in library science. We know about that. We know about the Dewey Decimal System.
Yeah, and you know what? You're watching us because you're so smart with the Dewey Decimal thing. And that's right, it may be a thing of the past, but you know what? We think that you should stick with it. The card catalog is still where it's at.
And the bookmobile is probably one of the best things that I've ever experienced, librarians. When you brought the bookmobile, I got in that sucker and wished it was my own vehicle.
You've retired and you haven't been in the library in 20 years and you still smell like books. Yeah. Much love. See you tomorrow.
Thanks for watching, librarians.